So the Grand Canyon is a railway and a hotel, and we investigated staying at the hotel, but opted not to. It was expensive, but not exorbitantly expensive compared to its neighbors, but we just opted for a different alternative. The depot is right behind the hotel, and the trains back into the station, and they leave once daily at 9:30 and return at 3:30 from the South Rim. We're here at the Grand Canyon Railway, and we're going to pick up our tickets, and I think we head out at 9:30 this morning. It's a beautiful day. So we arrived early enough. We have time to wander around the platform, and there's a few exhibits we'll go check out. We have about an hour before apparently we're going to see a Wild West show. We'll see how that goes at 15 minutes before the train starts. So this caboose was built in 1911, and probably the more significant aspect of it is that it was named after Jake Jacobson, who apparently had a reputation for advocating safety on the railroads, and actually achieved a perfect safety record one year in 1999, and advocated for awarding smaller railroads for their safety record. So it's owned by the museum now and honors his legacy. So the Shea number 5 engine, which is on display here at the Grand Canyon Railway, was built in Lima, Ohio, and we were there just a couple years ago where we saw where they were built. And they're special engines because they're designed to go slow speeds, carry heavy weight, and to go around tight turns. So this engine actually has wheels that pivot so that they can go around, I think it's 30-degree turns. And so they pivot individually to accomplish that. So they're the workhorses of many different industries. This particular area was built on the lumber industry. And the lumber industry, there's a lot of ponderosa pine forest around here. So the lumber industry used these to haul their timbers up and down the tracks. And we're in Williams, and Williams was basically built by a lumber company. So this is the front of the engine, number 5. The engine also was able to climb a 10% grade, which the engine that we're traveling today on the Grand Canyon Railway is built completely differently, and it can only go up a 3% grade, to give you a contrast. No, we're not back at Pikes Peak, but on display here in Williams is one of the cog railway engines from the Pikes Peak route. And we saw one of these on display in Manitou Springs, but this one looks like it was in service until relatively recently. I'm not sure if that's true or not. The dates on the back go to 2016. So. But it's a cog engine, and so it uses the center rail to climb the steep grades at Pikes Peak. And it looks like it was retired and put on display here. Number 4. So these are the cars that are being readied for today's run up to the Grand Canyon. And we're going to be riding in the Pullman car, which I'm not sure which one it is. We'll find out. These are older versions of the passenger cars that go up to the Grand Canyon. The Williams Train Depot is 116 years old. It survived demolition by the Santa Fe Railroad because this poured concrete structure, the oldest in Arizona, cost more to demolish than it did to leave alone.
We have rather unique benches all around the Grand Canyon Railway, made out of old railway wheels. Kathy's relaxing here as we wait for the Wild West show. Also, it was chilly when we came over, so we each wore light jackets, but it's supposed to go up into the mid-70s. By the time we get to the Grand Canyon, we can already tell walking around it's getting a little bit warm.
The Santa Fe Trail preceded the railroad route that the Amtrak is following, which preceded the freight railroad, the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe, ran along that same route. So then Interstate 40, I-66, and Route 66 and I-40 then followed all along the same Santa Fe Trail.
He'll start clapping at this time, but it's okay.
Woohoo!
Hold on. One last. How many cards? Trust me on this. Wait, how many cards you need? I'll take two. Right. Count them, folks. 5 aces. 5 aces. It was Fletch.
Oh, jeez.
But I didn't get your name, woman. Hey, Fletch. Fletch. What? Yeah.
I know, but some folks out there with the camera missed their shot and need to do retakes.
All that man. What? Fletch.
Grand Canyon Railway has different classes of service on the train. We opted for the least expensive, the Pullman, which doesn't have air conditioning, and I guess some of the other classes have air conditioning and different food options that are served along with your meal. Some have an observation deck either in the back or a second level where you can go up and look at the sights. So our train is a historic car. It's 100 years old, and it has the seats that flip back and forth depending on which direction you're going. A metal rack for stowing luggage up above, a small restroom in the back, and windows for air conditioning. So we're aboard our car, the Pullman car, on the trip to the Grand Canyon. It has seats that flip back and forth, and unlike our Amtrak train, it doesn't have plugs or seat rests or the seats that fold back, and but it's all good. We're looking forward to the day. It's a beautiful day. So the train takes us right to the south rim of the Grand Canyon. And from there we have access to the park shuttles and obviously the wonderful views of the Grand Canyon. It's a little after 11:30. We've disembarked here in the Grand Canyon and we're making our way to the village. The Grand Canyon Depot is a historic log-built depot, and I guess unlike many others, the logs are all structural. Fred Harvey is a name that I came to know more about on this trip. He is credited with, I think the word is civilizing the West. He was dismayed when he saw the state of restaurants or eating establishments and hotels west of St. Louis on the train routes, and so he developed Harvey houses, which were hotels and restaurants, and they were staffed by selectively recruited Harvey girls from the East, and it upped the standards of the accommodations and the eating establishments so much that it completely transformed the railroad and brought more than just the Wild West cowboys out. It started civilizing the West. It's very interesting history. So we ate lunch today at in Bright Angel Lodge at the Harvey House Cafe, and he built a number of the structures here that both between the hotels and the restaurants. The Fred Harvey hotels were spaced about every 100 miles on the Santa Fe route, and they coordinated their menus so that passengers would not be eating the same thing at each stop. So if one stop was serving steak, the next would be serving chicken. The Hopi House, which was built in 1905, was housed Hopi artisans. It was built by Fred Harvey and designed by his architect Mary Coulter to resemble a structures from a Hopi village, and artisans lived in there and sold their wares to the tourists to the park, and that is still the case today. They're not living there, but the native arts are inside. Our camps was actually a gift store, which was opened in 1905 and didn't close until 2008. It was part of the original community that evolved here around the tourist industry, around the Grand Canyon, and the building was taken over in 2008 and is now a visitor center with a very interesting history of the village here that was developed around the train. The arrival of the train, which was first started service in 1901, transformed the facilities and the business at the edge of the south rim of the Grand Canyon. The original tent camps became hotels, and businesses moved into more permanent structures, and infrastructure was built to accommodate the growing number of tourists, which since now it was easier to get here. We had 3 hours to tour the village of the camp at the Grand Canyon, and it's now just after 3 o'clock, and we're getting ready to board the train for the couple-hour trip back. It's been a good day. So here are the engines for the Grand Canyon Railway. Obviously different from the Shea engine that we showed you earlier, but they can go 40 miles an hour, which is the speed limit on this track, and up a 3% grade, and I think a slight angle. I think it's about 16-degree curve. There are 2 engines. Obviously, we've got to climb I've forgotten how many, several hundred feet to get up to the Grand Canyon, and these engines do the job.
As we come to a lower elevation and it gets more arid, we can see the larger trees begin to thin out and more of the scrub brush take over.
And all at once somebody heard a red-eyed cowsy song. They were plowing through the ragged skies and up a cloudy draw.
Oh, folks, they're in the next car and they're about to be on top of us. Don't forget to scream. Don't forget to clap for that poor old dumb Marshall if he ever gets in here.
Our trip is coming to an end, and as we reflect on the day, there are a couple of things I learned that I would do differently if I were choosing my seats in the future. We had a great time, but if it was a warmer day, I'm pretty sure it would be much cooler if you chose the side where the seats are numbered A and B. That puts you on the east in the afternoon and the west in the morning, so it's much cooler. Also, I would go probably midway or back or further, just because there's a lot more air circulation on a hot day that makes a difference. So, just a few tips that I think would make the trip more enjoyable. So we are staying at the La Quinta Inn here in Williams, and the bus actually dropped us off right at the hotel when we arrived last night. But even if they had not done that, the bus normally comes and goes from the Holiday Inn, which is right next door. So either way, we figured we were good, and we'll pick it up. We'll catch the bus back tomorrow from the Holiday Inn. The La Quinta is very nice, competitively priced. I seem to remember that there was a resort fee at the Holiday Inn that we weren't sure about. So and the Grand Canyon Hotel wasn't much different, but this had like a breakfast and more of the amenities, so it seemed like a good plan.